Here at Schumacher Chevrolet Livingston, we have a charger on the side of the building to charge our electric cars, the Chevrolet Bolts. And every now and then we'll have customers that'll bring by cars and they'll use that charger because it's always on. This is a Hyundai Kona, and I gotta imagine this is probably the worst design, putting the charging port on the very front of the vehicle, because this will be literally the first thing damaged in any sort of a collision. And if it gets damaged, you're not gonna be able to charge your car. Ladies and gents, we got another car deal. In my last video, I mentioned that I was working a deal with a customer on a Traverse, and the only two Traverses I had were these two 3LT premium package trucks with the sunroof. These are like $49,000 versions of the Traverse. The version they were looking for was like a $43,000 to $44,000 version. All they really cared about was leather. Now, we had a couple in our other locations, so we put numbers together. I followed up with them just earlier today, and they wanted to put the deal together. They offered us a couple dollars less. We could have made that deal, but the problem is the vehicles that I had at the other lots are now sold. So I don't have a vehicle at that price point to sell. So what do you do in a situation like this? A situation when the only car you have is $6,000 more than what they're looking for. This truck has 34 miles on it, and yes, it has a full tank of gas, so I don't have to worry about gassing this vehicle. We can just bring in a, actually I'll leave it here. I'm not going to bring it in the back because the back's all jammed up with deliveries that are getting ready to be detailed. So we'll leave our sold sign in the front so everyone on the lot knows it's sold. I'll put the key on the board in the back, and I'll have it cleaned up for Thursday when the customer is back in town to take physical delivery on the last day of the month. Now, they are buying this vehicle, and I was just mentioning about what do you do when you're trying to put a deal together on a car that you just don't have and the only other cars are more expensive. Well, you throw out a Hail Mary. You basically make the deal so aggressive on this model that although it's more expensive than the other model would have been, since this is the only thing you could offer your client, you do that and you see what they say. In this case, he decided to jump on it. So this is a 3LT premium package car. So they're getting everything that they had in their previous Traverse with the addition of the sunroofs that you see over top. It's also going to give us the 360 camera. So if I go over to the camera icon here, they now have the backup camera, the 360 camera. You have your selections of front, back, looking down, you know, all the different angles. That's something they don't have. This vehicle is equipped with Bose stereo, so you have speakers that are upgraded compared to the last model. And on the radio screen, you have in-dash nav, which they did not have in the last one. They also get the rear camera mirror, which is a pretty cool option that, you know, 50-50, I say people use it. 50% do, 50% don't. I had it in one of my Bolts and I never really used it. It wasn't really for me. And with the addition of everything we just spoke of, I think that is about it, except for on the outside, you get the 20-inch wheels. These wheels right here. The last vehicle they had the standard 18-inch wheels. Now, if you watch my videos for some time, you know I really don't get into the details of pricing, but I will tell you that this vehicle, equipped the way it is, we got it to be just $30 more than the version without all that equipment I just discussed. So for 30 bucks a month, they're getting everything we just spoke of. It's a great deal, especially in today's times. Another thing I want to discuss is our Equinox inventory right at the moment, right? So a comment came in on the last video that said, wow, that's a lot of Equinoxes. And it is a lot of Equinoxes for today's times. However, I have 19 Equinoxes in stock, and I can tell you that that is not a lot. Now, I've been making these videos since about halfway through 2018. That's when I kind of committed to trying to build a YouTube channel. If you go to my page, go to the playlist section and click on Dealership Life playlist, right? You can go back and watch videos of what it was like for me selling cars here in 2018 and 2019, during the pandemic, during the chip shortage, right up into today's time. So it's a really cool library of videos that gives you a 5-year window of what it's like selling cars at the same dealership. And if you look at some of those videos in the past, you'll know that where we had this whole row of Equinoxes, we used to actually park another whole row of Equinoxes in front of it, and then we would have them in different parts of the lot, as well as 2 different storage lots that we rented. So we used to have a tremendous amount more inventory. And I know a lot of videos that are coming out these days talk about how inventories are on the rise, and although they may well be, I still don't believe it's at levels that we're used to from 3 years ago, pre-pandemic. You know, we're still nowhere near, at least at our store with Chevrolet, at the levels we were. Because to have 19 Equinoxes sounds like a lot. Back in the day, we would have like 60. And just to further illustrate my point here with Equinoxes, if you look at our board here, like we have a column for every model, but the Equinox is gapped, right? We have spots on each side, same as the Traverse. We have spots open on each side. Sometimes we'll have, in the old days, not anymore, but sometimes we'll have 3 columns worth or 2.5 columns of the Equinox and the Traverse, even the Silverado. You'll notice there's a gap here for the Silverado as well, because we used to have so many of those particular models. In other news, our driver is coming back from our Denville location where he picked up the white Trailblazer we sold on Saturday. So he'll be here soon. I'll be able to show you that vehicle. It's kind of late at this point. Well, it's 3 o'clock. I may be able to get it out tonight. If not, those customers will probably come in tomorrow to pick that vehicle up. This is our Trailblazer. It has arrived. It's here. And I tell you what, with the little dusk sky here, it kind of points out and shows the lighting on the front of this, which is real nice. So you do have your amber little marker light on the side here. Your headlights are down below, and then you have your daytime running light and also your turn signal up top. And what's cool is it's a switchback. So when you actually put the turn signal on, it's going to switch from amber back to white, all in the same lens, same bulb, if you will. So it looks really nice. It's a nice setup. Since it's a little darker out, it's also a nice opportunity to kind of just point out the lighting on the interior. So one of the things I really like about Chevrolet is everything's sort of like white, right? So it's very easy on the eyes. Now these are big, huge screens. The last thing you want is some big, bright screen. And we could turn this, that's actually as bright as it goes. That's as dim as it goes. So as bright as it goes, because it's like this black to dark blue kind of gradation, it's not providing a tremendous amount of light inside the vehicle. Everything you need to see is there. So like your speed's white, your fuel, your safety warnings, your icons on your screen, like everything kind of is easy to see. The buttons, the actual things you have to press and look at, but then it's sort of a darker screen behind it. Really the only time I think that would change is if you were using CarPlay or Android Auto and had like Google Maps or Apple Maps, and if you didn't have that night setting on, that would actually make this bright because you'd have that full navigation screen there. Like in my car, my Chevy Bolt, a lot of times what I'll do, I was driving home last night and I lowered the dimmer down. So I like to keep it very dim. This way you get a better view outside. You don't have like these bright screens, you know, facing you. And, you know, just playing around with your vision, I guess you can say, your night vision. I always remember the worst cars, like with their dashboard lights being like red and oranges, right? So like Pontiac was like that, GMC was like that, certain BMWs in the past were like that. And the red and the oranges, they messed with my eyes. I never really got comfortable driving with cars with that interior color. I was like, the lighter colors like the whites or the blues. Personal preference.